How much do you know about Cain from the Bible? If you're anything like me, the answer to that question is not enough. Let's fix that right now. Cain is one of the earliest and most sobering figures in the Bible, known primarily for committing the first murder in human history. His story is found in Genesis 4, and although brief, it carries deep spiritual and moral significance. Cain's life is a cautionary tale about jealousy, sin, accountability, and God's justice mingled with mercy. Cain was the firstborn son of Adam and Eve, making him the first human ever born. His younger brother was Abel. Cain became a farmer, working the ground, while Abel was a shepherd. Both brought offerings to the Lord. Cain offered the first fruits of the soil, and Abel brought fat portions from the firstborn of his flock. However, God looked with favor on Abel's offering, but not Cain's. Scripture does not fully explain why, but many believe it was because Abel gave his best with his heart of faith, while Cain's offering lacked sincerity or devotion. Instead of repenting or seeking to understand God's response, Cain grew very angry and jealous. God warned him that sin was crouching at the door and that he must rule over it. Tragically, Cain ignored the warning. He invited Abel to the field and killed him in cold blood. When God questioned Cain about Abel's whereabouts, Cain responded with the now infamous words, "Am I my brother's keeper?" God, who knew exactly what had happened, confronted Cain with his guilt. As punishment, Cain was cursed from the ground, making farming, his livelihood, even more difficult. He was also condemned to be a restless wanderer. However, in an unexpected act of mercy, God marked Cain to protect him from being killed by others. This mark was not a sign of approval, but of divine restraint, God's way of limiting vengeance and preserving Cain's life despite his grave sin. Cain's story doesn't end with his punishment. He settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden, and started a family. His descendants are mentioned briefly, including some who contributed to early civilization, building cities, creating tools, and developing music. Still, the shadow of his actions lingered. Cain's legacy became associated with rebellion, violence, and spiritual corruption. In the New Testament, Cain is mentioned as a negative example. In 1 John 3:12, believers are warned not to be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. His story reminds us that unchecked sin can grow from envy into destruction, and that ignoring God's warnings has serious consequences. Cain's life is a powerful reflection on human nature, personal responsibility, and the need for sincere worship and humility before God. And that's why I think it's important to ask the question,